Welcome back, folks. In this week's Police Beat, detectives are on the lookout for a man in connection with a stabbing incident in Glen Burnie. Public Information Officer Justin Mulcahy joins us with the details. Justin.
Thanks, Eric. When officers arrived on scene, they located the 24-year-old female victim from Pasadena lying on the ground in front of the apartment building, bleeding from the upper extremity from apparent lacerations. The victim was transported, Priority 1, to Baltimore Washington Medical Center, where she was stabilized and then transferred to shock trauma for surgery. Numerous officers canvassed the area but were unable to locate the suspect. Now, preliminary investigation indicates that the victim and the suspect were possibly known to each other and that this was not a random act of violence. Through further investigation, detectives identified a suspect, that's Dwayne Howard, a.k.a. Doobie, age 30, of Old Stage Road, Apartment D in Glen Burnie. Howard is described as a black male, approximately 6 feet, 165 pounds. An arrest warrant has since been obtained, charging him with attempted first-degree murder, attempted second-degree murder, along with reckless endangerment, first and second-degree assault. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is urged to contact the Anne Arundel County Police Department's Eastern District at phone numbers 410-222-6145. We're going to move on now to our second incident. That took place on April 19th, about 10:28 in the evening. That's when officers from the Western District responded to the 3300 block of Sudlersville South in Laurel for a report of an attempted robbery of a citizen. Officers arrived on scene, spoke with a 42-year-old male victim from Laurel who indicated that he was walking in the 3300 block of Sudlersville South. That's when an unknown male suspect approached him, displayed a stun gun, and demanded money. The victim refused to turn over his money to the suspect, and a physical altercation ensued. And during that struggle, the suspect repeatedly attempted to use the stun gun on the victim, who was able to fight the suspect off and yell for assistance. Witnesses responded to the area. That's when the suspect fled the area on foot. Several officers, along with the aid of the aviation unit and the canine unit, responded to the area to search for the suspect, but they were unable to locate him. That suspect is still on the loose, I should say, at this time. Now, no injuries were caused to the victim. The suspect is described as a black male, about 6 feet 2, 230 pounds, last seen wearing a black ski mask with one hole in the eye, also a black sweatshirt with a zipper, black pants, and black tennis shoes. Now, as always, if you have any information on any crimes or suspects mentioned on the show, don't hesitate to call, email, or text your tip to Metro Crime Stoppers hotline. That number is available 24 hours a day, toll-free at 1-866-7-LOCK-UP, or you can text message MCS plus your message to crimes at 274-637, or visit the website at www.metrocrimestoppers.net. Remember, folks, phone calls are not recorded, callers remain anonymous, and you might be eligible for a cash reward of up to $2,000. Back to you, Eric.
Thanks, Justin. We hope that people will see the mugshot and pick up the phone if they know who this individual is.
Well, on a more serious note, we all know how important it is to plan ahead for the sake of kids and family members. Mary Felter talks this week with Pat Arnold about the importance of funeral planning. Mary?
Thank you, Carla. Today my guest is Pat Arnold, who is a mortician with the family-owned funeral home in Annapolis called Hardesty. And I'm happy to have Pat here to tell us about a program that's coming up in the next 2 weeks. Welcome to the program, Pat.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here, Mary.
We asked you to come to the program because you're going to be one of the speakers in The Future Is Now, Are You Ready series that the Department of Aging has been holding for the last 2 years. We've covered a variety of issues because the baby boomers are coming along and the senior citizens, they're getting more of us in the county. And they're interested in a variety of issues, so we've addressed health care, dementia, caring for a loved one, and now we're talking about some of the end-of-life issues. And I understand you're going to be our speaker on funeral planning options. When is this program going to be held?
Well, I'm actually going to be joined by Ron Wade, who is the director of the anatomical division of the University of Maryland School of Medicine. Mm-hmm. Our program or talk is scheduled for May the 4th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Arnold Senior Activity Center, which is located in Arnold, Maryland, next to the Safeway store, mm-hmm. just off of Ritchie Highway.
Mm-hmm. And what are you going to be covering in this program? You are going to be saying something about the emotional event and what people need to do to help handle it, correct?
Well, yes. We'll be talking about funeral planning, whether you're arranging a funeral of a loved one or perhaps pre-planning your own funeral. There are a lot of options available, and all the information that you're trying to sort through can seem perhaps overwhelming at that time, and hopefully we'll give you some guidance in that.
I understand that you're going to talk about what the options are from the least expensive to the most expensive. People can donate their body. What are some of the choices people have?
Well, there are many options that are available, and Ron and I will talk about those options from the least expensive to the most expensive. Least expensive could be perhaps a donation to medical science, which often is free, or it could be a traditional or formal funeral, which could cost in upwards of $10,000 or so. Whatever option you choose is often dictated by various factors, your religious background, your ethnic culture, perhaps the budget that is available to you.
That's true.
Or perhaps the wishes and desires of the deceased that they shared with you prior to their passing.
And I understand that people can donate their body if they can talk to the State Anatomical Board. There's a website that they can get some answers on too?
There is a website through the state that has a lot of questions and answers. Ron does head up that department. You can donate your body to, again, the state of Maryland. There are some regulations involved, so this information is out there. Even if you do not have access to a computer, you could contact them via the telephone, and they would be happy to share information with you that's available.
And you can also get information from a funeral home, because if you have a direct cremation and the body's taken care of right away, a funeral home can help you with that?
Absolutely. Cremation is very popular in 2011 for various reasons. There are many firms that will handle a direct cremation other than a funeral home, perhaps at a lower cost. There are several funeral homes here in the Annapolis area, or actually throughout the Anne Arundel County, that offer direct cremation services, and they will be happy to discuss that with you. Now, direct cremation, when I use that term, I mean that once a person passes, we transfer them into our care and then handle the cremation. Following that, a family may opt to have a memorial service or some other type of celebration of life or meaningful service after that.
Some people may want to use the casket, though, instead of just having direct cremation. Tell me a little bit about the kinds of caskets that are out there.
Well, there are caskets that are made from simple metals, as well as some that are made from fine woods or other precious metals, be it bronze or copper. There's a lot of options to choose. Once you decide on the type of service you want, if you opt for a casketed burial, then you'll need to decide where you would want to have the casket placed, either in perhaps a commercial cemetery or a cemetery that's affiliated with your church. Often churches have crypts that are available now. Or you could utilize, if you are a veteran or a military family, one of the veteran cemeteries here in Maryland. We have an excellent program for Maryland veterans as well as retirees that can supply the space as well as save you some money in the long run.
I also understand there's something called green burial. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
There are some states which offer or suggesting green burial. Everything seems to be trying to go green now.
That's right.
So they offer burials without caskets. So there's quite a different options that are coming available in that arena.
And I unfortunately have to tell you, we don't have time to discuss all those options because there are so many of them and all the regulations that you do have to follow. I've looked at some of this on the internet to try and get a little bit more informed. It's incredible the amount of details that you have to go through, and of course you're trying to do some of this when people are going through at a very emotional time. Tell me again, what is the date of the workshop?
It is May the 4th, from Wednesday, May the 4th, from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., again at the Arnold Senior Activity Center there in Arnold off Ritchie Highway. And you know, there's a lot of information that families need to take in at the death of a loved one. It's a very difficult time, and it's hard to absorb it all.
Exactly.
But hopefully, if you're able to attend this, you'll be able to walk away and have a little clearer understanding of information that's available, make an informed decision. It's an eventuality that we will all face.
Absolutely.
None of us are immune, so hopefully it will benefit you to attend.
Well, I do want to let our listeners and viewers know that this is a free event that the Department of Aging is presenting, and we invite people to come. We want you to register for it, and you can do that by two ways. You can go online to www.aacounty.org /aging and scroll down to the section which has the information, or you can call us at 410-222-4464, extension 3094. Thanks, Pat, very much for coming in today. We appreciate your letting people know about the workshop and the series. The future is now. Are you ready?
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
This is Mary Felter from the Anne Arundel County Department of Aging and Disabilities, and this has been part of Anne Arundel Week in Review. Back to you, Carla.
Thanks, Mary. None of us want to think about our own mortality, but it's important to plan these things so your family knows your wishes and they don't have to deal with additional